Hello everyone and welcome to the English Hour. In today's episode, we'll talk about holidays and the ideal type of holidays. This is a topic that comes up frequently both in IELTS and TOEFL, so I think this episode will serve a lot of students. We'll talk basically about the types of holidays, the ideal holiday, things to do in a holiday, and we'll also talk about our personal experiences with holidays. And finally, we'll also talk about the reasoning behind holidays. So why do we need holidays? So I'll just bounce off with some ideas, and I think John will start with the reasons behind holidays.
Hi guys. Okay, well, this is a good topic because holidays are an important part of our lives. They are a valuable component of a yearly schedule, say. And there are a few reasons for that. One practical reason is that we just, as human beings, we have to plug out. Like we have to take the plug off, we have to get away from work and other stressful environments. Actually, holiday helps with that as well. It's not just not working, it is also changing your place and maybe getting to experience new people and new environments.
Sure.
So that's one of the first reasons that come to mind, really.
Yeah.
You know, we have to kind of let it go for a while and relax. That's a need, a physiological, psychological need of human beings. And so basically, yeah.
And also, I think it's a good opportunity to isolate ourselves from the environment, from the typical environment. Just like John said, sometimes you need to stay away from the environment you're in, because when you're in a certain environment for a prolonged period of time, it might start to feel exhausting or maybe boring, and that change of place can really help you refresh. So that sort of brought in mind that isolation part for me.
And also another reason for holidays, I guess, is, you know, as human beings, we spend money, we purchase things, we go to places. All of these things we continue to do when we work or like doing our regular routine, and also when we go on holiday. So holiday for a lot of people doesn't mean just sitting at home or just sleeping as long as you want or you can possibly, and because too much sleep is also tiring. And basically when you go out and do shopping, go to new places, you experience new things, new cultures, new people, and that also rejuvenates your neurons, basically.
You can charge up your batteries.
You can charge up, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good take on the reasoning behind holidays. We all need to charge up as humans because the work conditions, the hectic pace of the modern life can drain our batteries.
Exactly.
Well, I am referring a lot to computers or the battery terminology, but I think it's quite fitting. So I'd like to talk about the types of holidays. So that's one of the items on our list. And when I think about types of holidays, I think 2 or 3 types come to my mind. The first one is, I guess, a stereotypical beach holiday. Like everyone, especially in the summer, people think of going to the beach, like going to the sea to swim. So that's, I think, one of the stereotypical examples of holidays. And another one for me is just to relax, like do nothing. Like I don't know, maybe you're at home, you are at a different city, but the main theme is doing nothing, just letting your mind relax, like staying away from your phone, staying away from your computer, and getting as much sleep as you need and as much sleep as you want. Because sometimes, like when we're working, especially like at nights, I tend to work a lot on my computer, and then I feel sleep deprived because I work into late hours, and then I have to get up. I have to get up early in the morning, and then things get really tricky over time because there is an accumulation of sleep deprivation, which in turn can really hinder the learning and the cognitive abilities. So,
exactly.
To me, holiday in that regard is a great opportunity to sort of relax. But another type of holiday I would call is a working holiday, something that we discussed before we started our chat. Because sometimes you might really like the type of work you do, and even if you're not at work, even if you're on holiday, you might still work on your projects or hobbies, and that might, interestingly, help you relax. So these are the types of holidays that come to my mind when I think about the types of holidays. Do you have anything else to say, or a different type, or a different categorization?
Yeah, it's like touring holidays, for example.
Sure.
Like historical tours, natural tours. We have those options in Turkey, and also a lot of people go abroad to see new places, to get acquainted with the history of different contexts, countries. So go ahead.
Yeah, well, I am interrupting here. So I think for the last decade, it has been very popular, or it has become more popular to go abroad on holidays, like maybe during the spring break or the summer break and so on. But given the current exchange rate, I think Turkish citizens might be a lot more inclined to domestic tours rather than international tours, because the current exchange rate is simply horrible.
Yeah, and by the same token, a lot of people in the international community might be much more interested in a Turkey holiday at this time, because I think some tourism agencies actually advertise for that. It's like the currency exchange is so good right now, there's not a better time for a holiday in Turkey, and a paradise on earth and stuff like that.
That is true.
They do that in the UK and the US.
I guess that is so true. For example, if I were in the UK or in Germany or in the US, Turkey would be a great place, especially for European citizens, because it's very close. You can come to Turkey in about 3 to 4 hours by plane, and the exchange rate is very favorable, and you can have a glamorous experience with a little pay.
Exactly. I think just last week, former French president, is Sarkozy. He and his wife Carla Bruni, they were in Turkey, and they were Instagramming all the way through. And Turkey was so beautiful thanks to Turkish people and stuff like that. They really seem to have had a great time, and
it's very interesting. I mean,
and the crazy thing, the ironic thing about this is Sarkozy during his tenure had a lot of anti-Turkey policies.
That is true.
And there was like a lot of standoffs and skirmishes between the Turkish government and the French government during his time in office. And now he's like coming here, and we're showing him all this love, and it's fine. I'm not saying that we shouldn't, but it's kind of ironic too.
The thing is, I also find it interesting that a lot of Europeans, they have very little idea about what Turkey is like. So they're like, oh, Turkey seems to be a distant land to the Europeans, but it's like right at the heart of Europe.
Exactly, it's Mediterranean culture.
Yes, it's where most of the modern civilization was born, and it's where the history lies, because you can travel all around Turkey, and you can find the heritage of countless civilizations on Earth in Anatolia. So, and Turkey is very modern. I think in many areas we're on a par with the European countries, like the infrastructure. A lot of areas. So I guess European tourists would not feel any different.
Yeah, they will definitely feel at home.
But sometimes,
especially in Istanbul.
when I was a student, I think it was in 2010, I was talking to a British lady. In 2010, I guess Istanbul was selected as the European Capital of Culture. It was a year-long event.
Yeah.
So when I was working as a volunteer, and part of my job was to do interviews with tourists, and I met this British lady, and I was talking to her about her experience in Istanbul, and I asked her what she expected and how she likes Istanbul, and she said, well, honestly, I was expecting camels. I am pleasantly surprised. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, how on earth can someone think like that?
Yeah, if you want to dissect that, which we don't, but like camels, they typically exist in very hot climates, in desert climates. So it's like there's no desert in Turkey. And
No.
How do you connect the dots there?
Well, I guess that's like
the
Middle Eastern image.
Yeah, exactly.
Some people might have.
And so basically, we want to talk about what holiday means to us and what kind of a holiday would be ideal for us specifically, and also for different types of people.
Yeah.
It's like,
the thing is, we'll talk about our expectations of holidays just to give you an idea. Because if you take the IELTS or TOEFL test, you will have to talk about these issues.
Definitely.
So you can cherry pick what we say. Like
Exactly.
you might like some part of our answers. Just take it, use it, improve upon it.
Exactly. Just take it for what it's worth, basically. And I think if I were taking an exam in IELTS and TOEFL, a speaking exam, I think one of the points that I would make about holidays and an ideal holiday is how much psychological investment we're making in holidays. It's like it's that time of the year when we get to relax and feel much happier than we might feel during different parts or portions of the year. And it's like there's this expectation, like holiday is coming and we're going to do something, we're going to do something new, or we're going to do something that we did last year or maybe even earlier than that, and we enjoyed it so much that we want to go back to it.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe it's a new journey that you're going to take. Maybe you're going to hire a caravan and like tour Turkey. Maybe you're going to go to the Black Sea region, like this magnificent place where you can this place where you can have the sea, the lush greenery, and also the incredibly hospitable people and new tastes and stuff like that. So it's like, it's beautiful. The element I think here is psychological investment, how much we like to be on holiday, how excited we are. So I think an ideal holiday is one that really excites you, that you are looking forward to.
Sure. I guess that's a good point to make. And from my perspective, an ideal holiday is a holiday in which I get to relax and charge up, because I have a very sort of hectic pace and I try to juggle a lot of projects at the same time. So for me, an ideal holiday is a holiday in which I can simply turn off my phone and do as I wish, like get up when I want, sleep when and as much as I want. So that might seem very primitive, very simple, but believe me, it's so relaxing just to wake up when you want and just do what you want, and
it really is.
not having to answer your phone. I mean, I like talking to people on the phone, but sometimes I need to simply cut off from the rest of the civilization.
Exactly. That's what unplugging really means. I mean, it becomes overwhelming sometimes. And also, I think there's a factor that we need to consider here, which is how long the holiday actually is. Because for shorter periods of time, I think what you're talking about is an epitome of an ideal holiday. It's like if you have just 2 or 3 days to spare,
That's true.
then you're going to just unplug, you're going to just relax as much as you want. But it's like if it is a month or even longer, you're going to want to do something with
Sure,
it.
then I'm ready for an adventure.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Then count me in for an adventure.
Well, definitely. An adventure would be great. And also, like, fun fact, in Sweden, for example, the month of July, as far as I know, is the official holiday month. There's this thing called, a month of holiday for everyone in the society.
I guess that's very common in Europe. For example, in August or July. I'm not sure if it's July or August, but for example, we were in Austria and most of the places were simply closed for a month. Like
it might be a European thing.
Yeah,
in general,
we will be back in a month.
Oh yeah, that's
interesting.
That's a cool thing to say. We'll be
to
back in a
the
month.
Turkish mind, it's incredible, unbelievable, because
like the
here,
entire country is
here,
closing up shop.
We like working overtime and working all the time. Like the shops are open most of the time, so it's very different.
Yeah. So it's like it depends on the kind of holiday that the framework in terms of time and space. And the framework really matters.
Sure, it does.
So basically, what did we do on the last holiday, which was the Kurban Bayramı?
That's true.
Yeah,
like the Feast of Sacrifice, as you might call it. Okay, who goes first?
Go right ahead.
Okay, well, to me that was very interesting because I think it lasted for about 9 or 10 days, and I am simply not used to be away from work for such a long period of time. So it was a shocker, to say the truth. So, and I guess I lost my train of thought for a while. I was very eager to work on a number of projects because, like, when you are working on on the given regular project, you don't have a lot of time to work on your hobbies. So I spend a lot of time brushing up on my Python programming skills. I learned a framework called React Native, which is a Facebook JavaScript framework for developing mobile applications. And I even developed a prototype app for learners of English and Turkish. It helps them with learning the numbers. And I also did a lot of research on machine learning. I did a lot of reading, a lot of research and hands-on experimentation. So the holiday, as you might call it, was full of learning. And
Exactly.
at the beginning I said I'd like to sleep as much as I want, right? But I was sleep deprived all through the holiday because I was so much into learning. I could not get off the screen. So I was reading, trying code examples, watching tutorials and so on. So I would work until 3 to 4 a.m. regularly for about 5 to 6 days, I guess. And it became very tiring. And then in the last 2 or 3 days, I started to sleep.
That's cool.
To recuperate from the loss.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's good to know that your ideal holiday was not a utopia after all. Like, you actually ended up there. It was a beautiful place of sleep and relaxation. I mean, for me, it was a mixture of family time and learning. And we are, in terms of learning, approaches to learning, we are very much alike. It's we want to absorb as much as possible, and we want to make it meaningful too. We don't want to be lingering around doing nothing and just, oh, that's very interesting, and learning that and kind of ditching it. It's we want to make something happen. And I dedicated some of my time to developing my language skills, actually. I studied some vocabulary. I did some oral interpreting type of training. It's the shadowing exercises that we used to do. Yeah, I did some of that. I enjoy that because it is both very challenging, and at the same time it is very you feel alive. The effort, the challenge kind of makes you feel like you're engaged cognitively, and it was great. And also I did actually research some programming too. I'm very much interested. And I did some research on that. I did a lot of reading, and other than that, it was good family time. We visited my in-laws, and it was cool. I mean, Ankara, I went to Ankara, the Turkish capital.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great weather, fine, perfect weather, very little humidity, and it's bright, it's fun. But not a lot of places to see. I mean, coming from Istanbul to Ankara, you feel where's the sea?
It's a downgrade.
Yeah, the first thing you do, you go to the balcony and you look over the horizon and you try to see where's the sea? I can't see the sea around here. So that was the idea, but it was fun.
Well, if your eyes were sharp enough, maybe you could see the sea.
Yeah.
The Black Sea.
The Black Sea.
Okay, well, I think I should add that I also had a lot of family time. I talked about the programming part because
that's the part that you enjoyed.
That's the fun part.
That's the fun part.
Yeah, I mean,
you enjoy family time too, of course.
The thing is that's the interesting part.
That's the exhilarating part.
Yeah, that's the interesting part because when people think about holidays, they think about staying idle, doing very little. For me, holiday is a time of learning. It's a time of improvement and advancement.
I totally agree.
And I have a little baby girl, and we had a lot of bonding time.
That's great.
Because on regular days and weeks, since I'm at work, I get to see her not a lot.
Not
but
as much as you want.
I'd like, or as
Yeah.
much as she'd like.
Yeah.
So, but during the holiday,
It's mutual.
yeah, we had a lot of time together, and I think I grew more fond of my daughter, and she grew more fond of me because we were able to spend a lot of time together, do a lot of activities together, like. For example, would go to the coastline early in the morning because she wakes up early.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
so that's an
That's so
interesting
cool.
dad and girl exercise,
Yeah,
like
that's pretty
walking by the shore. It was nice.
The only possible downside I can imagine is her expectations will be rising quite sharply. After
That's
this
true,
one, because,
that's true.
She has no concept of work versus holiday. I mean,
That's
she's
true.
like, Daddy's here, great, and it's like, Daddy, where's Daddy?
Yeah, I mean it's. For example, now since we're now closer, so when I open the door to get into the house, like she sees me and she starts crawling, and then she's like happy because she thinks I'll take her out.
Oh yeah.
She really likes being out.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful to see a baby girl like crawling to her
Excitement
daddy
all over her
in
face,
excitement. Yeah, it's a beauty.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
that's
and the
beautiful.
thing is like you understand the beauty of it once you're a father, once you're a mother or parent. Like you might think you understand it theoretically, or you can imagine understanding it, but it's nothing like the real thing.
Yeah.
So the real thing is very different and very, I think,
Fulfilling.
Fulfilling.
Yeah.
That's the word. So
Yeah,
that's a wrap
That's
up.
a holiday.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, that's
See, like the memories sort of made me happy.
yeah, memories and live in everything. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Memories contribute a lot to the present moment. Okay, guys. So basically, that's gonna be it.
Yeah, we talked a lot about the types of holiday, an ideal holiday, things to do on a holiday, and we also talked about our personal experiences and preferences regarding holidays. And I hope this has been an instructive and enjoyable session. It has been for us, and we hope
Definitely.
that you enjoy the session and you learn from it. And I hope that you can apply what you learn in this session in your real life, in your exam practice, and in your speaking. So, good luck and see you in the next episode.
All right, bye, guys.